Thanks for joining Dynamics GP Demo Day. My name is Blake, here with Rockton Software. A little bit about us. We were originally established in 1999, so we've been in the GP world for a long time, 27 years, helping you guys work simpler and easier. Many of you have probably heard about us before, but for those of you who haven't, we've got 5 core products for GP that help it work really, really well. We'll go over a couple of those. And then we also have a pricing management solution, especially for distributors who have a bunch of customers and a bunch of items and manage that complexity some way, often manually, often in Excel, and they want a better way out. We'll get into that too at the end with Rockton Pricing Management. So we'll go ahead and hop in now with, I think I'm going to start with SmartFill. Let me share my screen here. So SmartFill is, can you see my screen? It's good.
Yes,
Cool.
you are good
Awesome.
to go.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, so SmartFill is our Google style search tool. It is really simple and easy to use, but basically anywhere where there's a looking glass inside of GP, you will never have to click on that looking glass again. You just type in what you know or close to what you know, and SmartFill does the hard work and it finds what it thinks you're looking for. So really, at a high level, it's basically a contains clause. You type in text and it goes and looks for all the record that contains the text you put in. For example, I'll pull up my item card here and we'll start looking for items. I personally don't have items memorized, the numbers or anything, because most people have thousands or maybe even more. So all I have to do is I type in what I know. For example, maybe green, and I'll find my green items. To invoke SmartFill, you just hit the tab key. As soon as I hit tab once, you'll get a list of all of your items where we found green in either the item number, the description, or the short name. You're also able to configure this to search on other fields like the quantity or class code or really any field you want. But that's basically it at a high level. You type in what you know, it will go and search all of your records and it will find the relevant ones. As you can see, we've got a green phone, a green cord, a green cover, a green hand. Let's say I want this green phone, double click it, and it just pulls in. You'll never have to click that lookup glass again. So yeah, pretty simple. It works on all the screens in GP. Another one I like to use it on is the accounting. So if I go to financial and then I go to my accounts, I don't memorize account numbers either. There are too many. For example, though, if I want to find all of my cash accounts, I can just type in cash and I hit tab right here in the account field. And it pulls up every single account where cash is in. If I'm looking for cash in Bank Germany, I'll go ahead and click that. What's cool too is if you only have one match, you won't have to have that window pop up. It'll just automatically fill it in. So for example, I only have one petty cash account. So if I type petty in the account here, petty, and I hit tab, it just fills it in with my petty cash account. It also works on the account number if you happen to know it, anything you're searching. So I can type in 1130 and it will find all my accounts containing 1130, which in this case is also only the petty cash. So I'll type in 1130 and I'll hit tab and it fills in that petty cash. Super simple and easy, but basically you'll never ever have to click this lookup glass again and go and search for your records. You just type in what you know. SmartFill does the hard work behind the scenes. So it's kind of like having Google inside of GP. So if you have any questions about SmartFill, feel free to throw them in the chat now. I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next product I want to talk about today. It's called Auditor. It's probably our most popular product. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard of it before, but it's an auditing product. At a high level, it's going to track adds, deletes, or changes to any of your data inside of GP. That also includes your third-party products, as long as they're dexterity-based, and so we can track changes there as well. It's pretty easy to configure. All you have to do is figure out the GP table where the fields or the data you want to audit is. You mark them to be audited, and then you hit save, and it goes and it makes a list of every change that happens going forward. So I've got a couple audits already set up. So I'll show you in action how it looks when the audit fires for the end user experience. Then I'll show you where that's recorded. We put it in the smart list. And then that's pretty much what it does at a high level. And we can always dig in deeper. If you're interested, feel free to reach out and we can do a more in-depth demo. But yeah, Auditor, it works anywhere you want to set it up. I think I put it on my vendor card. So if I go to my purchasing and I click on the vendor card, I've set up an audit on both the short name and the check name. So I'll go ahead and pull in a field like ACE. I'll hit tab just to use SmartFill and have that pull in so I don't have to look at my records. And then I've got 2 types of audits that we set up. One is a regular audit. It happens silently in the background. There's no pop-ups, and the end user might not know they're being audited. The other one is an audit with a note. When I have that set, a note field pops up and it says, hey, the administrator is making you tell us why you're making this change, and then you type in a reason or select from a dropdown, and so on and so forth. Basically, you pick one or the other if you want the end user to know they're being audited, or if you want a good detailed log of the changes and the reason why they're making it. If you trust your users, you just want them to tell you why they're making those changes. So I'll show you both right here, and then we'll show you the smart list where it's captured. So I've got it on the short name. This is a regular audit, so it will happen silently. You won't really see anything happen. So I'll change a travel comp to, let's say a travel co. Just change a couple of characters there. And I'll hit save. Looks like nothing happened, but that change was captured. I'll prove it to you in a sec here, but first let's go ahead and do that note change to. Pull ACE back up using SmartFill. I just type in ACE and I hit tab and it pulls it in. John Smith is the check name. Let's change the check name to John Johnson. And then I'll hit save. Here we see that audit with a note firing right away. In red letters, it says that administrator requires you to enter a reason for the data changes specified below. Down here, we can see that we edited the table, the vendor master file, vendor check name, the old value, the new value, and all that stuff. So I can go ahead and I can click this checkbox. I can type in my reason. I'll say fraud, smiley face. And then I'll hit OK. You've not completed note entry. But I did complete note entry. Oh, apply note. Sorry. I have to apply the note, of course. Apply the note to the displayed change or to changes marked below. The reason you do that there is you might have multiple audits firing and you might have a note only apply to one audit. If I had like 3 changes happen here, you might have one note for one change, one for the other. So I'll say apply to all of the changes marked here or just the displayed change. If it's on one, I'll just say displayed change. Oh, my note went away. Let's say fraud again. Sorry. Fraud, apply to the displayed change. Could not find audit log master. Well, it wouldn't be a demo if things didn't fail, wouldn't it? I probably need to open my GP, but it'd probably capture the change anyways. I'll just go ahead and show you that smart list. So those changes will be captured here in a smart list. When you install Rockton Auditor, you're going to get your own auditor folder right here. So you can see at the top, it's alphabetical. You see auditor. And when I expand this folder, we actually have 3 subfolders. One of them is called audits. That's going to have all of your main core audits. We also have e-sign approvals and we have security audits. The security audits are really handy because that's any change to security, roles, users, stuff like that. And it's automatically tracked. So you can just sort this by date, shows you all the users, the old values, the new values, who made the changes. But as promised, we want to see the change I just made. So I'll sort this by date. Audits refresh. And then we'll go by date. Sorry, it's being really slow. There it goes. Okay, here are all the changes, and it did even capture that change where it was kind of messing up here. So we'll see at the top one. This was the one that happened silently in the background, that audit without a note. You can see the old value, a travel comp, the new value, a travel co, who made the change, the time, the date, the company. In fact, it was edit everything, and the note field's blank. The only difference with the one with the note, if I click on that one, that's right here. And we just have the note down there. I think because I was messing up with the clicking, you kind of saw how it lagged out. And so that note is blank. I guess I didn't capture it because of that. But normally that would just be right there. And then, of course, we also track things in the back end. If you want to do a SQL audit, we can actually track that too. So if people force changes in the back end, we'll capture it through SQL. Don't get all the same info because it happens outside of GP, but very powerful in case people are forcing changes through SQL. But yeah, that's Auditor. So yeah, the high-low adds, deletes, changes anywhere in GP, your third-party products, we'll track them. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or you want to see a demo of that. The next one I want to show you is GP Toolbox. GP Toolbox is our collection of 27 tools inside of GP. The most popular one is Inactivity Timeout. This red R right here, these Rockton logos at the top are all my products for Rockton. And so I'll click on this red one to get to GP Toolbox. Right here on the system settings here, we can see all or most of the tools are listed here. There's a couple you dig for, but most of them are right here. And the most popular one is Inactivity Timeout right here. What's cool about this interface is turning on one of these 27 tools or turning them off is as easy as flipping a light switch, basically, hence the light switch logo here. But for example, here's a password policy option that makes you have a complexity for passwords. If I want to turn that on, I just click it once. Now it's a green check. If I want to turn it off, click once and it's off. Super simple and easy. Since we don't have a lot of time, I'll just talk about Inactivity Timeout, by far our most popular product inside of GP Toolbox. What this does is exactly what it sounds like, but when users are inactive, it'll just log them out, it'll time them out, they'll be logged out, and that frees up your Microsoft license. So you don't have to buy more GP licenses. Of course, as time goes on, eventually you won't be able to buy them at all. But with us, we just free up the ones that aren't being used. So here in the default minutes of inactivity before timing out, you type in how many minutes you want them to be inactive, totally custom. If you want it to be like all day, you can say like 480 minutes. If you just want to be like 45 minutes, it's quicker. And then you can also exclude or include people on a different schedule. For example, right here, I have my admins. I've created a group of administrators, added a couple users to it, and then I've excluded them entirely. They'll never be logged out. And then I've got my accounts payable. They're included, but they log out after 15 minutes, while everyone else after 45. Just some example of the flexibility we have there with GP Toolbox. But yeah, that's all you have to do to set it up. Most of the tools are pretty simple to set up. And of course, we don't have a ton of time, but maybe I'll just go a little high level run through the list. Security Manager gives you a great view where you can view, report, and change security. All your users at the top, all of the roles at the bottom, and then it says yes, no. And so in the grid, and so you can very easily change security and also see all the security all at once. System lockout, you can lock down the system. Mentor and inspector make it a lot easier to find windows inside of GP. But yeah, lots of cool stuff in here. Inactivity timeout, of course, being the big one there. And it looks like we've got about 4 or 5 minutes left. So go ahead and wrap up with that one. But any questions you have, feel free to leave it in the box. Lots of tools there. And of course, happy to do a one-on-one demo with you after this webinar if anything is interesting. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is Rockton Pricing Management. Rockton Pricing Management is basically the future of pricing management. Anything that distributors are doing today manually, we can probably automate. Most distributors have the same problem. You have a bunch of customers and you have a bunch of items, and everyone pays a different price for those items, right? These groups or these customers have a contract. These guys pay this margin. These guys pay less margin. These guys have a rebate, whatever. You have to manage that complexity somehow. And what I find is most teams are doing that manually, whether that's in Excel, having a pricing manager set all the prices like manually on the order or whatever. And so what we have with Rockton Pricing Management is a rule set. You basically set all the conditions of when prices apply. For example, like group of customer A gets 30% margin, group of customer B gets 20% margin. And then automatically, when you go and you make an order and you add customer A or you add customer B, it applies the correct margin and it gives you the right price. And so you'll basically never have to do manual price updates again. I can demo you that in action right here inside GP. I have a separate interface to do that. So I'll pull up this GP right here in Rockton Pricing Management. It really works like magic. You pull up your sales transaction entry. I guess I can make a new one. And then I'll go ahead and pull in my my customer. I'll go Aaron. I'll make it an order actually. Save. I guess it doesn't matter. We'll just leave it as a quote. Then down here, you just type in your line items. So I'll type in like green again, hit tab, SmartFill will go and find it. I'll pull in the green phone. Oh no. It's giving me an error. I don't know if it even worked. Okay. Well, of course, this is how it goes on a demo, but of course, something's breaking right now on this and it's not catching it. But generally, of course, this price pulls in right away. You get the right price for the right customer. And then we can also hit these sales line details to see what applied. Let me see, actually, I might even have, yeah, I do actually. For example, here's one I already calculated where I know it actually worked on that green phone or which is the 100 XLG. We can hit additional sales line details and we can see what went into building that price. So that price came from the cost. Then we marked up 30% margin. And then we also factored in a vendor rebate and a sales commission. And you can optionally track those individual adjustments to a general ledger account, debit and credit account. You'd probably do both. I don't know why just one's in here. That's not very good. And then at the same time, even though it's the same order and the same customer, above it on this SD-RAM, if I go and look at those sales line details, I can see it came from a contract. And so they just pay a fixed $60 per unit. And then these guys pay like a cost plus. So when your cost changes, so does your pricing. And I think I even have a quantity break on here. So if I make my quantity up to 10 and I hit tab, let's see if it recalculates. Apparently I don't have enough of that in stock. I might not have that set up, but whatever you want to do with pricing, if you can explain what you want to have happen to your pricing in English, we can make it happen automatically. So for your end users, you just type in your line items and it gets you the right price for the right customer at the right time.